Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check. Okay. Peace and blessings, family. I don't mean to be in too much of a rush, but I just wanted on the record. So last week we spoke on discipline and being able to continue the studies regardless of how we feel. Today is a new trial, so all praises due to God. Um, I don't have electricity right now, right? The electricity went out. So I went into my storage and I grabbed our backup generator so that I wouldn't make an excuse. I was pondering, what am I going to do? Am I going to pre-record? So I went over all the options and I said, you know what? Just submit, pull out the background backup generator, go ahead and run that. So we got the Wi-Fi running, got the computer running, electricity going. And so I don't know how long that's going to last, but I wanted to go ahead and just move forward. All praise due to God. So before we get started, I pray everyone is healthy, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, as well as financially, all around health. Be prepared. The way that things are going in terms of life, they say everything is everything. So in my life, whenever things happen, I take it as a sign from Allah, a learning experience. This could be as simple as getting over a form of laziness for me, but it also could be a showing improving in preparation. So we spoke on how if we run out of water, we're already collecting the rainwater, and so that we're independent in our water, independent in business, and so this could also be a way to show improve in that level of preparation. So we do have I don't know if you can hear it. Hopefully, inshallah, God willing, you can't. It's not ruining the sound, but we do have the generator going in the background. So all praise due to God. Um, before we get started, I want to open up in the name of Allah, who appeared in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom we forever and ever give praise and thanks for raising a divine leader, teacher, guide, and example in the person of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. In these two great and holy names, I greet the brothers and the sisters in the universal understanding of peace. Wassalamu alaikum. So today's topic we have for Sunday studies, getting into our studies, blessed fast. This month of December is for us who are students of the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. We fast in December. So today's study topic is how and why. How and why do we fast in December? What's the purpose? And then we're also going to get into the invincible truth. Islam is for the black man. And we're going to get into, inshallah, God willing, that term black. Before we get started, I pray to Allah. Oh Allah, grant me the wisdom to do the thing you put me on this earth to do in a way that pleases you and serves the people you put me here to serve. And this is in part of establishing our pillars of faith, a profession of my faith. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, no God worthy of worship but Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. I bear witness that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is his true servant and apostle. And I further bear witness that the lessons that our Savior Allah gave us to study and learn is the fulfillment of the prophecies of all former prophets. And I do also want it on record. I believe I've made mention of this in a previous video, but I do want it on record that through my studies and submittance of Allah's will, going through those studies and extracting that profession of my faith, as soon as I profess that faith, I bear witness that as I'm reading it, the moment I bore witness to that profession, I want it on record that I stated, I bear witness that the lessons that our Savior Allah gave us to study and learn is the fulfillment of the prophecies of all former prophets. The moment I said that, Allah, in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, responded, brother, how can you profess that as your faith, that this is the fulfillment of all prophecies, and you have no knowledge, or limited knowledge, rather, of the prophecies? How can that be an answer to prophecies that you don't have a knowledge of? And so from that moment, again, we are doing a process of humility. In that moment, I was checked, and I bear witness. I have a limited knowledge of prophecies, so I do want to put that on record in stating that. So as we get in, and again, I don't want to seem too rushed. I just don't know how much time we have. It gauges by the hours. Um, and so, how and why we fast in December? I want to read a excerpt from the lessons from English lesson number C1, and it's going to construct our mind frame going into these studies. So we have here English lesson number C1. Excuse me. It says, "My name is W.F. Muhammad. I came to North America by myself. My uncle was brought here by the trader 379 years ago. My uncle cannot talk his own language. He does not know that he is my uncle. He does not know that he is my uncle. He likes the devil because the devil gives him nothing. Why does he like the devil? Because the devil put fear in him when he was a little boy. Why does he fear now since he is a big man? Because the devil taught him to eat the wrong food. The devil taught him to eat the wrong food. Does that have anything to do with the above question number 10? Yes, sir. That makes him other than his own self. And what is his own self? His own self is a righteous Muslim. We're going to stop there. We could continue, but for the understanding of our time frame, I want to highlight this is constructing our mind frame for today's lessons. How are we going to step into these lessons with the mind frame? Why does he love the devil? Because why does he fear? Why does he fear now since he is a big man? Because the devil taught him to eat the wrong foods. Does that have anything to do with the above question? Yes, sir. It makes him other than his own self. So the wrong foods have a connection to fear of that which we have been taught, or from fear of the people who have been teaching us fear, and makes us other than our own self. So not only do we not know who we are because we eat the wrong foods, but we can't even accept who we are because we eat the wrong foods. Okay. And so I want that to be our mind frame, constructing our mind frame, eating of the wrong foods. It makes us other than our own self, and it causes us to have fear. Okay. So now we're going to get into How to Eat to Live, book 1, How to Eat to Live. Now, a brother who teaches, Mr. Eric, makes an excellent point when he refers to this book. He says the actual title is not How to Eat to Live. That's just how we summarize. The complete title of the book is From God in Person, Master Farad Muhammad. Book 1 by Elijah Muhammad, book 1, How to Eat to Live. And that's very important because this here is the sign, it's the symbol. This is where the sign and symbol is coming from God in person, Master Farad Muhammad. And that's where the importance lies. That's where the importance is held. So it's very important for us to understand where these miracles and these signs are coming from. These signs, symbols, and miracles are coming from God in person, Master Farad Muhammad, on book 1, How to Eat to Live, through his messenger, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So we're going to go on page 45. Why and how we fast in December. So it says here, I have chosen for quite a few years the month of December for my followers to fast as in the month of Ramadan. It serves as a sign that we, the lost and found nation, are the end of all signs pertaining to the pilgrimage and fasting in the month of Ramadan. We fast the 12th month of the Christian year to relieve ourselves of having once worshiped that month as the month in which Jesus was born. Now, I don't want to stop too many times, but I do want to make this brief point and to say that the reason why we're in the year, quote unquote, 2024 is because it's 2024 years after the death of Jesus of Nazareth of 2024 years ago. He died approximately 2024 years ago. And so the very nature of our timeline, the timelines and the calendars, the Gregorian calendars that we're on, has a religious root. It's rooted in the religion of Jesus, or quote unquote Christian religion. So we're affected by Christianity, whether we want to bear witness to it or not. And so it's important to understand that since we're fasting in the 12th month of the Christian year, it's important to know that these months that we're adhering to uh, are Christian, based off of the year of Jesus's death, but also they are Greek by the very names and titles of each month. I don't want to get too much into it, but January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and December. Those are all names, even during the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. These are all titles and parts and pieces of a theology, of a Greek theology or Greek mythology. And those of us who went to public school, we all learned, we may not remember, but we all learned about Greek mythology and wonder why they taught us Greek mythology in public school systems when we're not Greek. That's interesting. Anyway, so we fast during the 12th month of the Christian year to relieve ourselves of having once worshiped that month as the month in which Jesus was born. So even if we don't know that we're worshiping something that's other than ourselves, we're just doing it by simply just being programmed to do it. So that's why it's important to fast during this time. It's to undo our programming. It is now known and agreed upon by the scholars and scientists of religion that nothing of the kind took place 2,000 years ago. Jesus was born not in the month of December, but rather as God revealed it and according to the season that history claims existed in that time, the first or second week in September. The Christians have made holidays which are used mostly for commercialization. I want us to remember that. The Christians have made holidays which are used mostly for commercialization. It's how our lessons say they use Jesus's good name to shield their dirty religion. So a lot of these holidays have actual no divine root to them. They're just for the purpose of commercializing to make some money. They buy wine, whiskey, and beer and fatten up pigs and hogs for the kill and roast this divinely prohibited flesh to celebrate what the Christians call the birthday of the Son of Man. Jesus condemns such things as drunkenness and the eating of swine flesh. The act that they carry on for the celebration of Jesus' birth is perfect for Nimrod, who actually was born on the 25th of December. According to the scientists and historians, as well as the words of God himself spoken to me, Nimrod was an enemy of God and one who came in the last 300 years of the 2,000 years of Moses. He led the white man against the laws of Moses and the worship of Allah. He, Nimrod, wanted them to worship idols, that which was other than God, as they did in ancient Rome. So it's a repeat of, and again, I want to make note, this is why we fast in December as opposed to fasting in accordance with Ramadan with the Orthodox Muslim, because they are not inflicted with the same ailments that we are here. It would do us no benefit getting us out of idolatry and spending in during holiday season. It would do us no benefit if we only fasted during the 9 month of Ramadan with the Orthodox Muslims and we kept going on regular in December. As we can see now, I just had a conversation with the brother on Instagram. He's an Orthodox Muslim. He says, I'm Orthodox Muslim, but I still celebrate the holidays. You can still buy me gifts for December. I'll still go to your Christmas parties and whatever have you. And I made a note. I said, this is why the teachings of Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad are so important, because it gets us out of participating in those things. We, during the month of December, you're not going to find us at Christmas parties. You're not going to find us in the stores shopping for Christmas gifts or shopping for gifts, period, during this time. We may be in the stores shopping for gifts at other times, but really what it is giving us a little bit of our power back. We are a powerless people. It gives us a power back to say, you might get my dollar, 11 months out of the year, but you're not going to get my money this month. And then that's the seed for it to grow, for us to take our power back. But if we're just fasting in Ramadan in the 9th month, which changes based off the lunar calendar, so this year it might be in December, next year it might be in January and February and so on and so forth, it doesn't give us here in the Hells of North America, it doesn't give us a sense of stability. It doesn't give us rooted in any type of power for ourselves. It doesn't give us independence. We're always going to be dependent looking overseas for them to be on the 9th month. And then we got to be focused here and be further dependent on whatever it is that is going on here in the Hells of North America every single month. The brother just did a whole video. Every single month here in the Hells of North America got a different type of holiday for us to spend some money. Every single month, January through December, it's got one, at least, some has more than one, at least one holiday where you got to spend some money. It's part of the culture. So where is that seed of independence in Orthodox Islam to give us? And I'm not throwing shade. Islam is important. A Muslim, Orthodox Muslim, is better than, a Catholic. But I'm just saying, for us, for the original black man here in the hells of North America, the teaching Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is mandatory. It's primary for us to get out of our condition. And I know it seems like I'm going a little fast, but I want to be mindful of the backup generator that we're dependent on. And I don't want to cut it too short. I want to get this information documented. So it says, let us, my followers, remember the right way. Let us, my followers, remember the right way. Waste not your earnings in such ways as worshiping and feasting as the Christians do. Now, again, I wanted to remind us this concept of Christian, without getting too deep, reminding you that Jesus could not have been, by definition, a Christian. Christianity and its belief wasn't developed until after he died. Why? Because he had to die for their sins, for Christian sins. So he couldn't believe. He didn't even know. Not only did he not know that he was going to be crucified, he didn't want to be crucified. So Jesus, not knowing he was going to be crucified, and two, not wanting to be crucified, he said, he begged his father he said, can there be another way? And then he submitted, your will, not mine. So if he didn't know that he was going to be crucified, that was not a fundamental portion of his belief. His crucifixion was not a fundamental part or portion of his belief. What was a fundamental part or portion of his belief was your will, not mine. Speaking to God the Father, your will, not mine. Whatever you want me to do, not what I want to do. That was the fundamental principle of his belief. And so that's what we mean when we say Jesus was not a Christian, because his crucifixion was not a fundamental principle of his belief. It was a fundamental principle of his submission. But we can say that about Abraham having to sacrifice his son. We can say that of every prophet. They had a fundamental principle of sacrifice, whether it be themselves. In our prayer, it says, my life and my death, my prayer, my sacrifice, my life and my death are all for Allah. And so that's right in alignment with every prophet from God, every messenger from God repeated those same words. My life, my death, my prayer, my sacrifice, my life and my death are all for Allah, the Lord of the world. So it says here, in this month of fasting, we shall keep our minds and hearts clean, and we shall not indulge in the eating of meats or land meats. You may eat fish and such fat products which come from land animals, such as butter and cheese. In this month, we should keep our minds on Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, my God and your God, and my Savior and Deliverer, and your Savior and Deliverer, to whom be praises forever for giving us life after, our mental death for the past 400 years. During this month, eat before day and after the sun goes down if you wish, but not during the daylight hours. This also goes for drinking. Drink whatever you are going to drink either before dawn or after dark. The eating before dawn is for those of us who love to eat breakfast in the mornings. But if you eat one meal a day, you may eat that meal either before dawn or after dark. It is better for your health, however, to eat one meal after dark. Keep up prayer and let us be grateful to Allah for his coming in the person of Master Farad Muhammad throughout the month of December and every month. This is a seed. I'm going to remind you of a question my wife asked. She said, let me finish this. And during this month, let there be no quarreling or disputing in our homes or abroad. Hail, praise due to God. So it says, and during this month, let there be no quarreling or disputing in our homes or abroad. And so I want to make mention, there was no quarrel in my home with my wife, but she did ask me. She said, why do you fast in December, which is the last month, and why wasn't there another month? I mean, we just got out of Thanksgiving. You know, that would have been a better time to fast. And she started mentioning these other holidays. And I told her that's a great question. For one, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is the one who prescribed us this time. That's step one. So even if I didn't have a knowledge, that would be where I would settle on the best part. That would be where I would make my initial stance, because the messenger told us to. Now, why? The messenger, all praise due to God, gave us the reasoning. When you look at the two different holidays in comparison, you have Thanksgiving, which is supposed to be, no, of course, now we know it's hypocrisy, but at the time it's supposed to be a time where the quote unquote native of the land we now call America and the quote unquote pilgrims had a meal. Now we know that that's hypocrisy, but they shared a meal, and supposedly they were giving thanks for all that, you know, were what was going on. Now I don't know the intimate details. I know it's hypocrisy. I haven't invested so much into that. I just know it's hypocrisy. Now I will say that it's not rooted in any divine attributes, or it's not rooted in any. It's not set in any divine root, meaning it doesn't have anything to do with God. According to the teaching of Most High Elijah Muhammad, the first thing that we need to do is get out of the devil's teachings of our God, get out of the white man's names and his God. So if we can take the time and get out of the belief and the celebration of a false claim of God's birthday. They say it's Jesus's birthday, but they told us the truth that it's actually not. So if we can begin at the most important part, if we can begin, the most important is our belief in God, then everything else will fall in line. If you were to start fasting during the month of November, then that would only take care of an isolated event. Okay, we just know that, you know, the pilgrims were taking advantage of the natives. That takes care of an isolated event. But if you focus on your priorities, the highest point of any person's life is the belief in God. You focus on who they believe in to be their highest power, then everything else should fall in line. And so that's what I was telling my wife after she asked. And, you know, that was a very thorough answer. And, you know, God willing, she was understood what basically I was explaining to her. She said she did understand it. Okay, so now with that being said, for the sake of time, I'm going to go into an invincible truth. I know I'm speaking at a quicker pace than I usually am, but I definitely don't want to, because I don't know the consequences if it just cuts. I don't know if I still have access to it. So out of preparation, I will go through this, and it's documented, so you can rewind it and go back and go from there. So we're in an invincible truth, December 8th, 1956, and today is December the 8th, 2024. And we're in the beginning stages of a fast. We're fasting from the month of December. It says here, Islam is for the black man. The religion of Islam makes one think in terms of self and one's own kind. Thus, this kind of thinking produces an industrial people who are self-independent. See, all praise due to God. We were once dependent. It says here, this kind of thinking produces an industrial people who are self-independent. Christianity does just the opposite. It makes the so-called Negroes lazy, careless, and dependent people. Now, real quickly, before we move on, because I don't want to lose any of you, it says here, Islam is for the black man. And half of y'all who are watching this will probably say, I ain't got nothing to do with me. And half of you, half of those half might be right. It may have nothing to do with you. But I do want to make very clear where it says here, black man. In our lessons, we are asked, who is the original man? The original man is the Asiatic black man. Asiatic black man. It doesn't say Asian black man, the Asiatic black man. So without taking too much of your time today, I'm going to skip over Asiatic in terms of today referencing, and we're going to go into this term black very quickly because it says Islam is for the black man. If it said Islam is for the Asiatic man, then we would go into that. But it says Islam is for the black man. Now, black is not a color. Black is the origin from which all color is derived from, is originate. So when we say black, we're saying original. And the original man is the Asiatic black man. Original, that which has no beginning nor ending. So Islam is for the black man. It's not for the nigga. It's a medicine to resurrect the so-called Negro from niggadom. It's the medicine to resurrect the prescribed medicine from Almighty God Allah to resurrect the so-called Negro from niggadom, from nigga-ish activities. And that's not just in America. There's niggas all across the planet. And that's what this Islam is for, is to resurrect the original people from death, from a spiritual death. Again, real quickly, I want to remind us that that word Negro means black. It has a Latin root of niger. In Spanish, negro means black. And in Latin, you have the necro and you have niger, which means black, and necro means dead. And so when they're talking about us and they call us Negroes or niggers, what they're saying is black and dead and black people. And so that's what we collectively as original people around the planet, because it's not just here in the hills of North America. When they showed up on the shores of Africa and they were looking for people to kidnap, they looked at some niggers. They looked at negros. They looked at nigers. You can see the Nigeria and Niger, those two countries in Africa, have root, means black people. And so those are the countries in the western area of that continent of Africa. When they were looking for people to kidnap and make slaves out of, they didn't find African Americans. They found some black men and women, and they labeled them as negro, nigger, black and dead. And as they continued to travel across the planet, when they landed on the shores of the land they now call America, they saw some other copper-colored niggers, and negros. And then when they went to the islands in the Pacific, they saw some niggers, negros, and niggas. And so everywhere they traveled on the planet Earth, whenever they seen some natives, some aboriginals, some originals, and some indigenous people, they was some niggers, some niggers, some necros, some dead and black people. If you look at the word Melanesia, melanin is black. Nesia means land or island. So it's the island or land of black people. This is how it is across the planet Earth. You go to India, there's a caste system. The untouchables is the niggas, the black folks. The really blue, black, dark is called the untouchables in the caste system. The niggers, the nigers, the necros. And the only piece that we can find is when you go to Ethiopia and they have the term negus, which means king. But it's better for us to just completely remove ourselves from being called nigga. Point being, so Islam is for the black man. It's for those who have been deemed as dead, deemed as black, deemed as less than. So it says here, think over such slavery teaching. That a rich man can't see the hereafter while Allah God is in the same breath is offering the righteous heaven riches while they live. I must continue to warn you that you can't depend on the white race to care for you forever. There is an end to your dependence on them. So why not start in time seeking something for self? This is the fall and end of power on the earth. Again, we spoke on the importance of us fasting here in December so we can secure some of our power back. We can choose where we spend our dollars in a right way. And it's not just in terms of spending money on gifts, but it's also spending money on food. I have been fasting for the month of December, and I have been able to document that on my work, I've been able to save a lot more money because I'm not going to spend money in the stores frivolously. I have a certain level of discipline, but sometimes I fall short. So maybe I might go and buy me a bottle of water instead of using my water bottle that I have at home, or I might buy a coffee or some type of natural energy drink instead of drinking the coffee at home. Or I might get me a little lunch when I know I'm not supposed to be eating until I get home. And so during this month of December, it was able to redirect and focus back on my discipline. So I haven't drank a coffee since the beginning of December. I haven't bought any water at the stores. I don't buy any food at the stores during the day, and I don't buy any of those. I don't drink crazy energy drinks, but they've have this one nice yerba mate that I really like. But I haven't bought that either since December, and I'm realizing that how much money that I spend unnecessarily throughout the week. And during that fasting, I'm able to say and bear witness that I'm taking some of that power back by the small dollar amounts. So it says here, this is the fall and end of power on the earth. Know this: the white race is as a dominant so-called American Negroes, the tribe of Shabazz, that the loss of Asia to the white race means the end of their luxury. So as we rise, they will no longer be able to secure luxury on our backs. And you have to have a knowledge of self for that. You have to have knowledge of who you are to not allow someone else to take advantage of you. It says here, it must come to pass. Believe it or not, as it is written, blessed is he who understands. Blessed is he who understands. So when I read that and keeping Allah and the person of Master Muhammad in mind, when it says blessed is he who understands, I would secure that as being a prophecy from the former prophets, and then these lessons being a fulfillment of the prophecies of the former prophets. So blessed is he who understands. So as soon as I get into those lessons and I'm extracting this information and I'm acting on it and I'm showing and proving in my wise ways, deeds, and actions, then inshallah, God willing, I'll be able to secure some of this understanding for myself based off of those lessons. It says here, you need a country to yourself. Now we're going to put a pin in that one. You need a country to yourself. You will never be able to live as you desire until you are in your own Islam. Hold unity meetings. Now we get into some instructions. You need a country for yourself. Hold unity meetings among yourselves to better your understanding of each other. All praises due to God. It says hold unity meetings among yourselves to better your understanding of each other. Whatever profession or trade you may have, for example, I'm in the general contracting profession where we source and build and install rain water harvesting systems. So that will be the profession or trade that I'm invested in. So whatever profession or trade you may have, do something for yourself and your kind and choose for yourselves the one religion, Islam. Islam will secure for you, and I bear witness, favor and protection of Allah God, also universal brotherhood. The nation of Islam will be the winner, especially the lost found with Allah. Stop looking for anything after death, heaven or hell. These are in this life. Death settles it all. Stop eating yourself to death by eating 3 meals a day. Eat once a day and eat the best food, which, when eaten correctly, keeps you in the best of health. Interesting. Again, we say all praise due to God. Islam is for the black man. We already spoke on how to and why we eat in December, from how to eat to live, from Almighty God Allah, who came in the person of Master Farah Muhammad. And we're going to wrap this up by going into the lessons one more time. But I want us to keep this on our mind frames. Keep this in our mind. It says here, stop eating yourself to death by eating 3 meals a day. We can't do that. 3 meals. Eat once a day and eat the best food. which, when eaten correctly, keeps you in the best of health. Stay away from the hog meat. Don't eat no swine. Don't dine on that swine. It said from the hog meat. Don't eat stale beef, chicken, or fish. Eat fresh products. Stale beef. I can't honestly say I ever heard of that, but if it says eat fresh products, so we don't want to have old, well, I know what stale means, but we don't want to have old meats just sitting around, probably freezer burn. We want to have them fresh. Don't eat field peas such as brown or black eyed peas. Oh, you know what? You know when you go to the stores and you got the pack of meat like chicken or whatever, and it says previously frozen. That could be an example of stale meat previously frozen, because we don't know how long it's been frozen for. It could have been in the back of the freezer for years. And again, in our own freezer, don't keep the meats in the freezer for too long. I don't want to go too much more into that. But yeah, you keep a nice rotation. But eat fresh just in case, in case something happens, you want to have a backup of food. But meat should be anyway. Eat fresh products. So we want to have fresh when we do eat meat. My family, we don't eat meat all the time. We eat our navy bean soup throughout the week, and then on the weekends, that's when we have, quote unquote, as Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad puts it, that's when we eat our quote unquote fancy food. So it says here, do not eat field peas such as brown or black eyed peas, lima beans. Don't eat collard greens, cabbage sprouts, cornbread. Eat brown bread, whole wheat, butter, if not overweight. If not overweight, and a little cheese. So we definitely want to focus on not being overweight. We want to get our weight under control. It says drink milk, cook your food well done, pray 5 times a day with your face towards the east, with your face towards the east. Love your black brother as thyself. Do good to all. So anybody, in my closing, anybody who's looking for some instructions, he says, all of y'all who be teaching, y'all sound real good, but don't never give us nothing to do. You sound good, you're teaching. If you was looking for something to do, it says here, stop looking for anything after death. Start there. Hold unity meetings amongst yourselves to better your understanding of each other. Start there. Do something for yourself. Now, that might be a little bit too philosophical for us, but it will say here, stop eating yourself by eating 3 meals a day. Start there. Stop eating 3 meals a day. These are instructions. Eat once. Stop eating the hog meat. Right there. It's instructions. Don't eat the field peas, the brown, black-eyed peas. Stop eating all this quote-unquote soul food. Stop eating the quote-unquote soul food. It's really soulless food. Is what the food that they sold us is what it is. It's the food that they sold us, sold food. We was the sold folks, not sold folks, and that's the food that they sold us. Nah, get out of that. So some more instructions for those of us who think that the teachings is overly philosophical. It don't tell nobody to do nothing. It says eat brown bread if you're not overweight. So it says here, lose some weight. Drink milk. Cook your food well done. Right here. Pray 5 times a day with your face towards the east. That's some instructions. Love your black brothers as thyself. We really got to learn how to love ourselves to learn how to love our brothers. It says do good to all. So you can learn to love yourself, learn to love your black brother, and do good to all regardless. It says write and join your own. Write to Muhammad's Temple number 2 Incorporated, 5335 Greenwood Avenue, Chicago 15, Illinois. And so that's in my closing. Our next article, December 15th, if God was your father, you would love me. Real quickly before I get out of here, I know it's going to be a short one today. I appreciate you for bearing with me. We're all on a backup generator, and so I don't want to get cut short. Like, it gets cut off. I don't know the consequences. But I do want to leave you with this again, tying it all together 360 degrees. It says here, English lesson number C1. My name is W.F. Muhammad. I came to North America by myself. My uncle was brought over here by the trader 379 years ago. My uncle cannot talk his own language. He does not know that he is my uncle. So that is our first introduction into the lack of knowledge of self. He does not know that he is my uncle. So he does not have a knowledge of himself and his heavenly home. He likes the devil because the devil gives him nothing. Why does he like the devil? So he likes the devil because the devil gives him nothing. Why does he like the devil? Because the devil put fear in him when he was a little boy. The devil put fear in him when he was a little boy. Why does he fear now since he is a big man? Because the devil taught him to eat the wrong food. Now, think about this. Food. Food is something, it's generational. How your parents ate is most likely how you eat, unless you're trying to get out of generational curse. If you're choosing to do better, then all praises due to God. But without that concept, we can bear witness that food, the way we eat, usually is a generational either blessing or generational curse. So it says here the devil put fear in him when he was a little boy. How did he do that? Why does he fear that now that he's a big man, he's grown up now? Because the devil taught him to eat the wrong food. And so it's so powerful to start off a child. If you want him to be fearful when he's an adult, you put fear in him when he was a baby. How do they do that? How do they put the fear in our babies, in us as babies? They taught us to eat the wrong foods. They gave us Jell-O. They gave us Kool-Aid, chitlins. They gave us potatoes, potato chips, Cheetos, Takis. Look at when you go, those of us who live in the hood, go to your liquor store and look at all the foods, and you tell me where's the healthy food. Every single food that's unhealthy is planting fear in us since we was little babies. Since we were little babies, they've been planting fear in us, and that's a generational investment for our control. It's a generational investment for our control. For them to continue control over us, they control the way we eat, the foods that we have access to. It's called a food desert. If you really want to know the truth about it, it's called a food desert. But you can trace that back. It's not just the liquor stores. You trace it back to the chitlins, to the hog, chicken feet, collard greens, all the things, cornbread, all the things that we love, the ham, everything that we've been programmed to love because we call it soul food has actually been putting fear in us. And fear is not just an emotion. It's a way of life. Do you know, think about this real quick. And what's planting this is in my mind. I watched a video of somebody who was overweight. They was about to get hit by a car, and they were wobbling out of the way. Wobbling out of the way of the car. They did not have enough strength and health to get self-preservation is the first law of nature. They didn't have enough willpower to get out of the way fast enough. The car almost hit them. To live in that condition, you have to be living in nothing but fear. You do not have enough willpower to get up on your own. You don't have enough willpower to get up the stairs on your own. You don't have enough willpower to go and exercise consistently. So that lack of willpower and that being overweight and unhealthy, you're living in a state of fear and you don't know it. You don't have the willpower to do the things that you please, to do the things that you want to do. That's fear. Not being able to do what you want to do, even if you want to do it. So we have different levels of fear. It's not just being scared. It's being unable. It's being dependent. Right now, if you're renting from somebody, your landlord, now we're removing all we're removing all laws that protect renters. But if your landlord, if you're renting right now, and your landlord came downstairs right now and he said, "I'm giving you 30 days, you gotta get up out of here," immediately you will go into fear. It will be fear. And that's not being afraid of somebody. You're being afraid of circumstances. You're being afraid of the fact that you're dependent and you can't do anything about it. And so when it says here that the devil put fear in him when he was a little boy because he taught him to eat the wrong foods, it's a generational concept. That's something that he was able to institute from the time when that boy was little and based off of what he was given to the parents. It's not that he just focused on the boy. It was the parents as well. We're all living in a state of fear. And that's not just fear of a boogeyman. It's fear of circumstances. It's fear of consequences. So that's why it says here why and how we fast in December. And so in my closing, again, I would like to go for longer, but I'm on the backup generator. I don't know how much more time I have on here. I do want to say thank y'all for joining. All praises due to Allah. Assalamu alaikum. Real quickly, if there are any questions, thank you for joining this far. We haven't been going too long, but I don't want it to cut off mid, and the video isn't saved. Wow. Thank you for being here. Pray you're healthy physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. I pray health all around, holistic health. Definitely glad to see y'all here. I got a few people here on Instagram and YouTube. I don't mean to seem rushed. I definitely don't want to rush the process, but I don't have any the power went out here at the home, and so I cut on the backup generator. And so, all praise due to God. That was a way for me to sharpen up that discipline and really be prepared, is to bear witness to preparation. But that's how and why we fast in December, as opposed to fasting with the Orthodox Muslims. And Islam is for the black man. If we have any questions or concerns? If not, I will greet you as I came in universal understanding of peace. But yeah, let me know if we have any questions, concerns, comments. Praise due to God. You just broke your fast. Three. So yeah, man, I'm waiting. I'm waiting. It seemed like I'm rushing the video so that I could break my fast, but I'm really not. We just ran out of the power got shut off. I guess a tree must have fell down the power line. So I didn't know what to do. I was texting my wife. I was like, the power's out. I didn't know what to do. I'm staring, trying to figure it out. And you know, like went to go grab the backup generator. But yeah, you just broke your fast. So inshallah, God willing, I'll be able to break mine shortly. How your fast been so far? Brother smelling that home cooked meal as he yeah. Hey, for real. For real. For real. For real. How your fast been going? Praise be to Allah. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah, my pops checked in on me and asked me how my fast was going. He told me he was fasting as well. Man, it's a beautiful feeling when you can share that. That's that universal brotherhood that Most Honorable Elijah Mom was talking about. Just knowing that you got people as going. It's a self-inflicted, right? So it's a self-inflicted discipline. You don't feel so alone. Brothers is fasting. It's our thing. That's our thing. Fasting in December. Yeah, it's our thing. It's definitely good to see you on here. Inshallah, man, we catch up. I know, yeah, brothers be busy. But yeah, definitely need to catch up. Or yeah, definitely need to catch up. But without further ado, I don't want the generator to cut off. So I will, in my closing, um the lessons I bear witness that the lessons that our Savior Allah gave us to study and learn is the fulfillment of the prophecies of all former prophets. With that being said, I greet the brothers and the sisters in the universal understanding of peace. Assalamu alaikum. May your families be blessed and healthy as well, man and women.